correct, Mr. Shomi, it's currently just waiting for presidential assent. But there have been some discrepancies in what they believe should go in the bill and not go in the bill. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, for the people that are saying, look, let's be a little bit thorough, let's look at the details, I agree with them. I do agree with them. Now, all these names are about Dixon, Aguai, Diri, others. These are men of timber and caliber, and if you permit me, yes, of caterpillar and bulldozer too. So these kind of men are saying that they want is an endorsement. It's an endorsement of the state police policy. Now, just forming the state police, a lot of people now see it as emotional, as political, as this and that. So for it to work, we have to put the details down. These states, how many of them are solvent enough to take care of an institution like a state police? What are the retirement benefits of, what are the salaries, you know, and things like that. These little details is why in the House of Representatives we had some people say, no, I don't think we're ready for this. We have to ensure that these things are enshrined before we go ahead. So for me, the state police is good, and I'm happy some heavyweights are endorsing it.
But you know, just to add to this quickly, Toma, we understand that the state policing may not be the uhuru to the insecurity we're facing in Nigeria, but it's a step in the right direction. I believe that the conversation we're having is actually taking long. What is our reason for making sure that this is not being implemented? I feel that right now we should be looking at the financing of these people to make sure that their welfare is taken care of.
Some of these details, if they are not taken care of right now, and we start the state police, it will take a long time for some states to implement them. So they want them done, put on the paper. And all that.
And there are several legal stipulations in the fine print that are trying to prevent abuse.
The next stage is it has to go to the state houses of assembly. So 2/3 of them will have to pass it. So I think that's the stage we are currently.
Absolutely. Mr. Shomi, I'm going to take you over to the Punch newspaper. And it's a matter of money here. The federal government has now overshot our borrowing limit, and our new debt is now reaching an unprecedented 12.62 trillion naira. Apparently, we've missed our revenue target, and our budget deficit has now ballooned by 47% above the expected and safe financial projection. And fresh loans are now bankrolling 36% of 2024 spending. This is a report by the Budget Office. What do you make of these numbers? Because one thing this administration is hailed for is that, forget micro and microeconomics and our stomach infrastructure, is that the analytics and the statistics have always been very, very promising. These projections, on the other hand, are not promising.
We should not forget that the 2024 budget came in the midst of the reforms being introduced in the country. Now, when you actually read that report carefully, you will understand that the reasons for those deficits are two issues. One, the fact that we set a budget benchmark for crude oil about $77 per barrel, and it ended up at about $74 per barrel. So you have a shortfall on income on one part. On the other part again, you know, you faced another issue, which is the issue of the crude oil, which we did pump out. We thought we would pump out 1.7 million barrels a day, and on average, we are pumping out 1.54 million barrels a day. So we know where the shortfalls comes from. It's on income. But at the same time, there's also an increase in non-oil revenue. The non-oil revenue went up by about 48%, a little over 48%, which is something positive. That is, we are increasingly reducing our dependence, you know, on crude oil to fund the budget. You know, and for me, I'm sure next year's 2025 budget assessment will be a lot better than 2024.
Absolutely. One would think that with our non-oil earnings increasing, we would be more likely to meet our revenue target. But Mr. Shomi is telling us to be patient. Mr. Shomi, I'm going to stay with you here. And it's on matters of politics, on the Observer Times paper, on the Blueprint paper, and it's the same with the Guardian newspaper as well, similarly on the Nigerian News Direct paper. And it's matters of politics here. Observer Times tells us that a court of appeal has now reinstated the ADC and 4 other political parties. Atiku has now said this is a victory for democracy, and David Mark says justice has been restored, and this has restored public trust. It's the same with the Blueprint paper. A court of appeal has now reversed this order that you registered the ADC and 4 others. What do you make of this? Do you think that the ADC has now finally, to overcome any sort of challenges, judiciary challenges that were hindering them against the 2027 polls?
No, it's not yet over. There is the case they appealed to the Supreme Court, you know, over a court of appeal ruling against them, which borders on the issue of who conducts the state congresses. You know, the ADC constitution says the state executive. Meanwhile, the national, that's section 223 of our own constitution clearly stipulates that you have to do it in line with democratic principle. But the idea of David Mark leadership appointing people in violation, you know, of even section 23 of the ADC constitution itself is being examined. The Court of Appeal has already ruled against ADC. The matter is before the Supreme Court. In addition to that, this is highly predictable. I mean, this kind of victory. INEC on their own part even raised objection, you know, to the judgment, you know, of the High Court. One thing we need to note is this: they are hailing the judiciary now. They are hailing INEC. I hope if a decision goes against them, they will not start, you know, attacking INEC and attacking.
No, they definitely will.
I'm always very worried at the judicialization of our politics, you know. But let's move on. I want to stay with you, Mr. Shomi, very quickly, because we're going to end on matters of politics today and get into the juicy stuff. What do you think about the Osun election? Nentawe Yewata, who's an elderly statesman within the APC, he says the Osun election is a rehearsal ground for APC's winning machine. Do you think he's jumping the gun here a little bit? The Nigerian News Direct.
No, I think I will expect INEC to do better. They did very well in Ekiti. I mean, nobody can fault the way they handled the Ekiti. So we expect the same thing from Osun. But Osun is a very hot state when it comes to gubernatorial elections. We should always remember that. It's highly competitive. Unfortunately, the governor seems to be suffering from how do I put it? You know, a collapsing flagship bridge,
yes.
You know, with the bridge already collapsing. I went there, I saw it myself just last weekend, and then they had to close it. How that happened, then blaming that on sabotage, which apparently clearly is structural problem. So for me, that has played very badly, you know, for the governor, you know, with the people. The fact of the matter is there are a lot of issues at stake, and it's going to be highly competitive. It's between two people. Yes. I don't see the ADC, Najim Salam, who happens to be the former speaker, you know, featuring in any strong way. It's between Adeleke and Oyebami.
Yeah,
absolutely. Ria Netoma, I want to end this segment with some good news, and we're on the Hope newspaper. The First Lady tackles hunger, malnutrition with community food banks. This food outreach reflects President Tinubu's anti-poverty drive, and this was said by Governor Aiyedatiwa. What do you make of this? This is not the first time she's doing something.
I'm not surprised.
Like
she's done it for tuberculosis. She's done it for nurses. She's done it for the women who, you know, who are suffering from cancer. So this is not the first time she's doing something like this, and this is not the first time she's actually doing malnutrition as well. Because we need to understand that if these children do not eat properly, they do not grow well. So for me, it's a step in the right direction. I believe that we should also give her the accolades for this kind of thing. Not that when we hear the Akara one, everybody's talking about it. I'm not saying this all over social media.
Exactly. Thomas, quickly speak on this headline on Platform Times. 78% of Nigerian students remain in the United Kingdom 5 years after they graduate.
Doing what?
This is by, good question, this is by a report that is recently being revealed. And we've now surpassed India, China, and the United States in terms of how we want to stay in the United Kingdom under the Queen.
Yeah,
under the king.
Most Nigerians that find themselves in the United Kingdom or the United States of America for studies and so on will try everything possible not to come back to Nigeria immediately. And it's unfortunate that the numbers are so high right now in Britain. And I mean, it's just the Japa thing that is happening.
Absolutely nothing.
Let's fix our home. There's no place like Nigeria.
Indeed, it's a Japa phenomenon. Well, that's it for this morning's papers on the newspaper review. As Osun inches closer to its governorship election, can it deliver a credible poll by shielding voters and the ballot from forces that threaten the democratic process before, during, and after the polls? Do stay with us. We'll be right back.